Hey guys, so we've already been learning about equations and inequalities and how to solve them, but now we want to work on what are we going to do if they give us a word problem with inequalities. So up top, I want you to write word problems with inequalities. We are going to be looking for some key words. We are going to be looking for some key words to help us figure out, to help us know which inequality sign that we should be using to solve that particular problem. So we're going to make kind of a chart where we have this sign. What the graph should look like. And then keywords for that sign. This is only probably going to take up this top half of your page. We're going to use the bottom part for some examples. There are 5 different signs that we're going to talk about. So go ahead and split that bigger box up into 5 groups. Go ahead and pause the video if you need to finish up that chart. Otherwise, I'm going to get moving. So the first sign is when we have X, this sign, and some number. What is this sign called? Greater than. That's one of our key words. Greater than. Greater than. So if we were going to graph this on a number line, if here's our number, would we have an open or a closed circle there? Open or a closed circle? It's going to be an open circle because there's no line underneath my sign. So it's going to be an open circle. And will we shade to the left or to the right? To the right. It's greater than, so that means it's going to be everything bigger than that number. Other keywords that we'll have there is more than, is larger than, and is above. These are not all of the words, but these are the ones that you will most likely see. Pause the video if you need to. Otherwise, I'm going on to the next sign. Our next sign looks like this. What is that sign called? It is called less than. Less than. So X is smaller than that number. So if we put that on a graph, is that going to be an open or closed circle on that number? Open. There's no line underneath of it, so we keep our circle open and we shade to the left or to the right. To the left. We want everything smaller than that number. Other words you might hear are is smaller than, is below, is less than. Oh, we already have less than. We'll just write it down here again. Boom. That's it for our second sign. Our third sign is going to be, what color do I want it to be? This color. We'll have x, this sign, some number. What is this sign called? It is called greater than or equal to. Remember, if it has that line underneath of it, that means it can also equal that same number. If we put this on a graph, are we going to have an open or a closed circle on this number? It should be closed. Why? It has that line underneath. That means it includes that number. And then do we shade to the left or to the right? To the right. Remember, when we're shading, we're showing that there are multiple options. There are multiple answers because we're shading that direction. So anything that includes that number or anything bigger will work for this situation. Other words you might hear are minimum, at least, is not less than, and is not smaller than. All those words mean the same thing as greater than or equal to. They all imply that it could equal that number or anything bigger than it. Our last inequality symbol is going to look like this. What's that symbol called? Less than or equal to. Less than or equal to. If we put this number on a graph, is that going to be an open or closed circle? Closed circle. Because that line underneath, it includes this number in our answer. Then we shade to the left or to the right? To the left. It needs to be equal to or smaller than that number. Other phrases that you will hear are maximum, at most, is not more than, and is not greater than. They all mean that it could equal that number, or it could be smaller as well. So those are our inequalities, but I just want to show you the difference between inequalities and equations. That's what this last box is for. This last box is for equations, so you can see the difference. If x equals some number. It's like we said, if it's an equation, one of the key words that we might see is equals. If we were going to graph this on a number line, here's our number. Would we have an open or closed circle? We'd have a closed circle because it will be that number. The only thing that's different is, will there be any shading here? No, there will not be any shading. There's only a solid dot on that number. Because remember, with an equation, there's only one answer. The inequalities, there's more than one answer, but equations, there's only one. Other keywords you might see for equations are is, total, same, equivalent, Sorry, equivalent is equivalent. Spelled that wrong. Oops. And another word might be balanced. There are a lot more words for equals, so go ahead and just look up if you need to reference or write down some extra words from equals above the board. If you have any questions on this, please let me or Mr. Snook know. And if not, go ahead and go to the next video where you are practicing taking equation word problems and putting them into inequality, or word problems, putting them into inequalities and solving them.